Hi, I am looking at two EGR valves here. Can you guess which one is still working? No, it is not this one. This is actually the one which is bad, although this pin, the end of the solenoid, is not the way it should be. It should move freely against the spring force, like this. This is a bit it is moving freely, but it feels like there's no spring in there. But the problem with this valve is it is almost brand new, and it had a problem since it was new, and the problem is that it is leaking, and it is causing the engine to not have any torque until the RPMs go over like 1500 RPM. And I took this apart, and I think I know where the problem is. Now if we can look inside, we see two valves in there, and I think they should open at the same time. This seems to be designed in a way that the exhaust pressure doesn't affect the force which is needed to open it. So it has two valves, one is there and one is there. And if I'm pressing here very slightly, you can see that this valve opens, and I can tell that the other one doesn't. So this very slight opening is wasting the energy of the exhaust gas, so the turbo doesn't have enough force to spin it, and it is kind of a vicious cycle where when the turbo doesn't have the energy, it doesn't give enough air, and the air isn't enough to give enough fuel, and it burns less fuel to give less energy to the turbo. So this very slight problem with this valve causes the engine to be very weak below 1500 RPMs or 1700 RPMs. Now there is a thread on there, and I think it could be adjusted so the valves would open simultaneously. But what I'm going to do is I am going to put this solenoid on this valve body, and I have a good EGR valve. I have taken this apart, and cleaned the valve guide, and this is moving very nicely now. So there it is, the hybrid EGR valve, the old body with the new brains. Okay, let's go for a test drive. Okay, I'm on a nice and quiet road here, and this is the first test. I'm on the 4th gear, and you can see the RPM gauge and the boost gauge on the right side. And when I'm pressing the accelerator, previously it was like the engine was completely dead, and you couldn't get boost above 0.4 bar until the RPMs went over 1500 RPM. So now let's test. I am flooring the accelerator pedal right now, and look at the boost gauge. Yes, this is totally different now. Right from the okay, let's test 1000 RPM. Yes, this is totally different. Oh, and another thing. This fault with the EGR valve gave also the air mass flow sensor fault. Let's do a test on the 5th gear, 1000 RPM, and I'm flooring it right now. Take a look at the boost gauge. 0.6, 0.8. Wow, it really goes now. Yes. So, thanks for watching. I hope somebody found this useful. Sure, there is someone who is interested to see if this can be adjusted. This one with the loose valve. So let's try turning this shaft, and I try to have a grip on this end with some pliers, and see if I can tighten this screw. And the answer to that is yes, you can tighten it. The screw was actually loose, and now when I'm pressing this, the valves open at the same time. But this feels a bit sticky, and as you can maybe see, the valve moves a bit left and right, and it shouldn't do that. I think the guide inside is a bit loose, and this is almost new. This was a cheap, unbranded aftermarket valve. I think this is Chinese. There you go.